Hey everyone, today for another vlog, and today I would like to talk about the right to be here, the right to exist. So it's maybe a bit of a title, so let me give some context. So I've been reading this book about the chakra system because I've been working on trauma and emotional blockages for a while now. And by a while I mean like I don't know, I guess 1 year and a half, which is kind of I guess it's never been like a super like hardcore focus for me, but it's still something I've been doing like in the background. And so one of the thing it mentioned is like how each chakra is associated with its different like rights, right? Like what you actually deserve and what you actually like. I would not say should, but like something that is really like important to give yourself and to like understand not just intellectually but with your whole body, right, your whole system. And so the first one is the right to be here, the right to exist, acknowledging that you have a right to exist, to survive, to have to have food, to have money, to take up space and so on, right? And there are other rights all related to the other one. So the right to feel, for example, for the second one, the right to what's the third one? The right to act or something, or something related to power or will, whatever. I don't remember. I don't remember the other ones, but the first one really struck me as quite important because it's. I was thinking about like my own life, and I realized that it's definitely something I struggled with actually. And the author mentioned that it's actually quite common for people to struggle with this right, like they feel like you know, almost in an existential way. It's like this feeling that you don't even deserve to exist. Like it's not even like in a suicidal way, right? Like it's not like I have suicidal thoughts or whatever. I don't. But it's more like, it doesn't feel like I am a solid person who, this place in the world. It's kinda hard to describe. Like unconsciously feeling like you basically, you don't deserve everything you have, that you're just very lucky and that you like owe something, right? I feel like that's kind of the important one, like feeling like you owe society or like you owe people something, which is not really true. I mean, I, consciously, I don't think there's such a thing as like me owing things, but unconsciously is very much the case. And I think um, I think not expressing the right to exist is it's quite a clear sign of like fear, right? Like maybe like in the past it was useful to kind of hide yourself, to like not exist, so to speak, or like uh, hide your existence. In my case, with my parents, I've always like kind of been, I wouldn't say like scared of them, but more like it's I would be intimidated by them at least, especially my father. And so it's rather amazing how m- much of my life has been shaped by kind of trying to be invisible in the world and with social interactions. For example, like when I spoke when I was younger, I had a lot of trouble just expressing myself. I was really quiet when I was speaking, and I was really bad at articulating because I was so out of practice with speaking. Right, my volume was really low, and I was not speaking a lot, and you know, uh, I think there was just a general sense of me like I'm not like I don't really deserve to be here and to be heard and all of that. And I think to have it expressed so well in a book, I think that was quite interesting. Like that someone could struggle with not believing that they have the right to be here. And for me in my life, it's always been mm, this aspect of like trying to hide myself, and also this aspect of like feeling like I need to prove myself, right? Feeling like I need to like work hard and show that I'm like intelligent and have good grades and all that to show that I'm not a quote unquote a waste of space or waste of energy. It's a very like coercive way of treating yourself. It's basically it's basically starting from the basic assumption that there's something wrong with you and that you need to again with this idea that you owe society something, right? That you need to like repay your debt, so to speak, which is a very like it's a very self-hating place to start with, right? Like an unconscious place. I don't think many people have this as like a conscious thing, but I mean, maybe some do. That you need to prove yourself, but I think as an unconscious thing, definitely, I think a lot of people do, especially men, right? Especially guys, because we are sort of treated in this very conditional manner where our quote unquote worth, our quote unquote value is only defined by what we do and our results and all that, right? Instead of who we are or how authentic we are and so on. So it's like this very how to say, this background pressure to that you're never enough, that you always need to prove uh to other people and to yourself that you have the right to exist and so on, which is pretty bullshit when you think about it. Right? It's a completely coercive, very toxic. This mindset doesn't even lead to good results in my experience. It's, honestly, when I look at back in my childhood and my teenage years, it's not even like I was doing that great at school, right? Even though I was putting all of this pressure unconsciously on myself, it's not even like I was doing that great, honestly. And this is why emotional work is so important, right? Because it's not only does it make living much more enjoyable, which is very important, right? Honestly, even if the only thing you cared about were results, I think it makes such a huge difference when you can just pursue something not because of fear, but because of enjoyment and curiosity and yeah, just just wanting to learn, right? Learning is really fun, so it's not something that really requires a stick in my experience, but you know, I'm sure there was some kind of reason why I developed that, and society is shaped this way because sticks are a lot more effective at how to say. It's just a lot easier to use a stick, right, as a collective than to like try to steer people or like try to inspire people to go a certain direction. It's just a lot easier to punish people from following certain paths and to punish people and to create a sense of lacking self that they can then uh, quote unquote fill or quote unquote feel better through all of the activities in society. Right? So basically, I feel like the main dynamic of society is it makes you feel bad about yourself, and it gives you the options, the supposedly options to just fix that problem. But the thing, of course, is that the problem never existed in the first place. So the problem only existed because society makes you believe that there's something wrong with you. Yeah, but so far I've been kind of intellectual about. Really, I've been talking about things that are kind of adjacent, but not really the core when I think about. So I've talked about shame, right? So what I've been talking about, hey, there's shame and the obsession of doing and feeling like you're not enough, and trying to hide yourself, feeling like you're, kind of trying to play the invisible. But really, I think the right to be here is, it is similar to what I've talked about, and it is like very adjacent. But I think the right to be here is kind of more fundamental, and simply the right to, it's simply the right to take up space, right? The fact that you exist and that you need some food and some money and you need some space and that other people might not have what you have and that kind of thing, right? And so it's the right to survive essentially. And yeah, I feel like even that is something I kind of struggle though. I'm not exactly sure if I can articulate why, but just when I can like sort of imagine myself, like when I can just like ask myself like, do I feel like I have the right to be here? I notice some resistance. So like it's not like a super clear yes. It's not like I can say clearly yes to myself that I 100% feel I have the right to be here and to exist. Um, yeah, I think this is basically the thing I talked about just before, right? Related to shame and trying to hide myself. But I feel like there's something a bit different, but I'm not sure if I can identify it right now. Maybe it's simply, like when you grow up in an environment where you don't feel safe. Maybe it's simply like the background message that you get from all of that, which is that, you know, that survival is just very scary, that life is just very, unsafe and all that. And maybe this kind of like shaped my unconscious in the sense that like I tend to be very scared of in general. And like I feel like everything is a struggle, right? Like the just existence itself is a struggle and not something that you can just enjoy. And perhaps this is kind of what I've been intuiting about myself. That it's not just that I'm ashamed. That it's not just that there are some parts of me who are like ashamed of who I am and who feel like I need to, you know, impress or like prove for something. And it's not just that like I feel like I want to hide myself to not feel threatened. I feel like there's also a part of me that is just kind of scared of existing and feeling like life can't be just easy, right? I feel like the unconscious belief that life always has to be a struggle, and that um, it can never be easy and can never be like I can never be at rest or at peace or yeah, just enjoy myself, right? So maybe there's something related to that this constant like low stress but very present, right? Like low stress but that you can definitely feel like it puts you into a state of tension and you never feel like your survival is guaranteed, so to speak, and so you always feel like there is a next thing to solve, like there's nothing, a next thing to work on. And maybe this is also why I've been struggling so much with tiredness over the past years, is because this constant state of tension is just very tiring. And like I have this like unconscious thing where it doesn't feel like I can just rest because in my past I never felt safe. Maybe I was safe, but I never felt safe. So yeah, so this is what came up, and I think those were three pretty good points about myself that I kind of I'm glad I made explicit, right? Because it's a very basic right, right? The right to feel like you deserve to exist and that you are there, you exist, you take up space, that you deserve money and all of those. Especially money, right? I would like to make an episode one day about money because I can definitely notice a scarcity mindset around money in me. So for example, my parents are both immigrants, and so they grew up in pretty poor environment, and so it only makes sense that this. I think it makes complete sense to talk about poverty trauma, right? So that poverty is a traumatizing thing that gets transferred as well onto children. And so I think I inherited that as well, and as a result, I can definitely see some form of like scarcity mindset in me. But I would like to explore that in another episode, in another vlog as well, for just as its own subject because I think it's quite interesting the scarcity mindset, feeling like you don't really deserve money. But yeah, this is about everything I had to say for today. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.